"You're expelled." The microphone echoed it across 800 students, and every single one of them was staring at me. I am Lena Mirek, standing on the assembly stage, my name just announced like I was some kind of criminal, while Principal Vance holds up a file with my records inside it. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. He says I manipulated grades, that I broke the system I was hired to audit. And the worst part? He's smiling, like he's been waiting to do this in front of everyone. Someone laughs, phones come out. I feel my face burn, but I just say, "Okay." Then he opens the file to finalize it, and suddenly stops. His fingers tighten around the last page, the signature. His expression changes fast, and before he can say another word, the auditorium doors slam open. "Principal, don't say another word." The voice cuts through the room like it doesn't belong to this place. Sharp, controlled, used to being obeyed. Every head turns at once. A man in a dark suit is already halfway down the center aisle, moving fast, not waiting for permission. A badge clipped to his belt catches the stage lights. Not school staff, not security. Principal Vance doesn't respond right away. He just stands there, still holding the file, but now his grip looks wrong. Too tight. Like if he lets go, something worse happens. "Sir," the man repeats, louder now, stepping closer to the stage. "Do not continue." The room shifts. The laughter is gone. Even the phones lower slightly, like people aren't sure if they're supposed to be recording this anymore. I glance at the front row. Teachers who wouldn't look at me seconds ago are suddenly watching him instead. Vance finally forces a smile, but it doesn't land. "This is a closed disciplinary." "It's not," the man cuts in. "Not anymore." That's when I notice it again. The page in Vance's hand. The one he hasn't turned. The one his thumb is covering like he's trying to hide something in plain sight. My name is still printed at the top. But the signature at the bottom, it's not just wrong. It's impossible. And now this man is walking straight toward it. The entire room feels like it's holding its breath, and I'm still standing exactly where he left me, center stage, expelled, but somehow not dismissed. Principal Vance adjusts his grip on the microphone, forcing authority back into his posture. "Students, remain seated. This is being handled." His voice is steady again, but his eyes aren't. They flick once toward the man approaching the stage, then back to the file in his hands. Too fast, too careful. I know that look. I've seen it before, 2 weeks ago in his office when I asked him a simple question he didn't want to answer. Why are these grades being overwritten after submission? Back then, he leaned back in his chair, calm, almost amused. "You're new, Ms. Mirek. There are processes you don't fully understand yet." But I understood enough to notice patterns, enough to see the same names appearing over and over again, students whose failing marks quietly turned into passing ones overnight. No teacher notes, no correction logs, just clean edits, and one name that never disappeared. Eli Vance, front row, star athlete. Principal's nephew. Back in the present, the man with the badge reaches the stage steps without slowing down. No one stops him. No one even tries. I glance toward the teachers again. A few of them are whispering now, not about me anymore, about him, about what this means. Vance steps slightly forward, blocking the edge of the stage like it's still his territory. "You're interrupting an official disciplinary action," he says, lower now, more controlled. The man doesn't argue. He just holds out his hand. "For the record," he says, voice calm but firm, "I'm going to need that file." There's a pause. Not long, but long enough for everyone to feel it. Vance doesn't hand it over, and that hesitation says everything. My chest tightens, not from fear this time, but something sharper. Recognition. Because this is exactly how it started. First, the quiet pushback, then the rumors. 3 days after I filed my report, I lost access to the system. No warning, just locked out. IT told me it came from administrative level, from him. Then HR emailed me about a review meeting I was supposedly part of, a meeting that had already happened, without me. And now this, standing on stage accused of the exact thing I reported. It wasn't random, it was built, deliberate. The man with the badge steps closer, lowering his voice just enough that it feels more dangerous, not less. "Principal Vance," he says, "don't make this harder than it already is." Vance exhales through his nose, then finally extends the file, but not fully. His fingers linger on the edge, like he's not ready to let go of whatever control he has left. The man takes it anyway, firm, final, and just like that, the balance shifts. I feel it before I even understand it. The room isn't looking at me anymore. They're watching him. He opens the file without ceremony, flipping past the first few pages quickly. Incident reports, printed emails, system logs I recognize but know were twisted. Then he reaches the last page, the one Vance stopped at, the one he didn't want anyone to see. The man's eyes scan it once, then again, slower. His jaw tightens, just slightly but enough. And when he looks up, it's not at me, it's at Vance. "Interesting," he says quietly. The word spreads through the room like a spark. Vance straightens. "If you have a concern, you can take it up with the district office after—" "I am the district office." Silence. Real silence this time. No whispers. No movement. Just 800 people realizing all at once that this isn't what they thought it was. The man turns the file slightly, just enough for the front row to see, and even from where I'm standing, I can tell. The signature line is exposed, clear, undeniable, not his, and now everyone close enough is starting to notice. Vance takes a step forward, voice sharper now. "That document is internal. When exactly did you sign this?" the man asks, cutting straight through him. No hesitation, no room to dodge. Vance opens his mouth. And for the first time since this started, he doesn't have an answer. No one speaks, but everything changes in that silence. Principal Vance's mouth is still slightly open, like the answer is there, just out of reach. His eyes flick down to the file, then back to the man holding it, calculating. The man doesn't wait. He steps forward into the center of the stage, fully claiming the space, and raises his voice just enough to carry across the auditorium. "Marcus Hale, District Compliance." A ripple moves through the crowd, students whispering, teachers shifting in their seats. The title lands heavier than his tone. Hale turns the file outward slightly, not enough for everyone, but enough for the front rows, the staff, the people who matter in this moment. "This document," he says, tapping the final page, "authorizes the immediate expulsion of Ms. Lena Mirek." I feel every eye flick back to me for half a second, then return to him. "And it carries your signature, Principal Vance." Vance regains a sliver of control, straightening his shoulders. "As it should. I approved." "No," Hale cuts in, calm but absolute. "That's the issue." He lifts the page higher now. "You didn't." The words don't explode. They settle. Slow, heavy, and somehow worse. A teacher in the front row leans sideways, trying to get a clearer look. Another one whispers, "That's not—" Vance steps forward quickly. "That's enough. You're misinterpreting—" "Forgery is not an interpretation," Hale replies. The word hits harder than anything else so far. Forgery, not misconduct, not policy violation, a crime. The air in the room shifts again, sharper now. Students who were recording earlier are holding their phones steadier. This isn't gossip anymore. This is evidence. I feel it in my chest, the slow, unfamiliar movement of something turning. Not relief, not yet, but the direction is changing. Vance lets out a short, controlled breath, lowering his voice like he's trying to pull this back into something private. "This is neither the time nor the place." "You made it the place," Hale says, gesturing slightly to the room. "Public assembly, public accusation." That lands hard. Because he's right. This was supposed to end me, right here in front of everyone. And now it's unraveling in the exact same spotlight. Hale flips back a page, scanning quickly. We've been reviewing system logs tied to your administration for the past 10 days, he continues, triggered by a report filed by Ms. Mirek. Another ripple. Now people are looking at me differently, not as the accused, as the one who started this. Vance's jaw tightens. That report was based on incomplete data. It was accurate enough to open an investigation, Hale replies. And accurate enough that someone attempted to discredit her before we could finish it. That word, attempted, hangs there. Not succeeded. Attempted. Hale closes the file slightly, then looks directly at me for the first time. Ms. Mirek, he says, voice steady, I need you to answer this clearly. My throat feels dry, but I nod. He takes one step closer, making sure the microphone still carries every word. Did you make any unauthorized changes to student academic records? The question cuts clean through everything that's been said so far. No rumors, no framing, just the truth. I feel 800 people waiting, watching, measuring. I swallow once, then answer. Steady enough that it surprises even me. No. Hale studies my face for a second, long enough that it feels like he's weighing more than just my words. Then he asks the second question, the one that changes everything. When you accessed those records, were they already altered? A pause. This is it, the line between accusation and exposure. I think back to the logs, the timestamps, the names, the pattern, and I say it. Yes. The reaction is immediate, whispers breaking out across the room, louder this time, harder to contain. Hale nods once, like that confirms something he already suspected. Then he turns slowly back to Vance. Then we have a bigger problem, he says. Vance doesn't respond. He just stands there, still, rigid, as the weight of that sentence settles over the entire auditorium. And Hale adds, quieter this time, but somehow even more dangerous. This didn't start with her. It didn't start with me. The sentence hangs in the air. And for the first time since I stepped onto this stage, I'm not the center of it anymore. Principal Vance is. He doesn't move right away, just stands there, shoulders tight, eyes locked on Marcus Hale like he's trying to calculate his way out of this in real time. But there's nowhere left to redirect it. Hale turns slightly, gesturing toward the auditorium doors. Two more officials step inside, quiet, deliberate, carrying tablets instead of authority in their posture. They don't need to say anything. Their presence says enough. This isn't a warning anymore. It's execution of something already decided. Over the past 10 days, Hale continues, voice steady, we've traced a series of grade modifications across multiple student accounts. Changes made after submission, no teacher authorization, no revision logs. A murmur builds, louder now, harder to contain. I scan the front row. One of the math teachers, Mr. Kellen, looks pale. He shifts in his seat, then suddenly stands up, like sitting is no longer an option. I was told to adjust midterms, he blurts out, voice unsteady but loud enough to carry. Not all of them, just specific students. I was told it came from administration. Every word lands like a crack forming in something already breaking. Hale doesn't interrupt him, doesn't need to. He just nods slightly like this fits perfectly into a pattern he's already mapped out. Thank you, he says. Vance finally moves. This is being blown out of proportion, he snaps, stepping forward again, trying to reclaim ground that's already gone. Administrative discretion exists for a reason. We make adjustments when necessary. For donors? Hale asks. The question cuts clean. Vance hesitates. For athletic eligibility? Hale adds. Another pause. For your nephew? That one hits. Hard. A ripple moves through the students, heads turning, whispers sharpening into recognition. Eli Vance, front row, star athlete, always just barely passing, always eligible. Vance's expression shifts. Not denial, not exactly. Pressure. Eli maintained performance within acceptable. His grades were failing, Hale interrupts, sharper now, consistently, until they weren't. Silence drops again, But it's different this time. Heavier, certain. The pieces are starting to lock together, not just for me, but for everyone watching. I feel it too, the clarity I didn't have before. This wasn't random. It wasn't just about covering something small, it was a system, and I walked into it. Vance exhales slowly, then straightens, trying one last angle. Even if there were discrepancies, he says, voice tightening. That doesn't explain this. He gestures sharply toward the file still in Hale's hand. I did not authorize forgery. That is not on me. There it is. The shift, from control to distancing. Hale studies him for a moment, then nods once. You're right, he says. Vance blinks. Just once, caught off guard by the agreement. That specific action, Hale continues, lifting the file slightly, came from a different access point. The room leans in again, every ounce of attention snapping back into place. Hale turns his head toward the officials near the door, then back to Vance. We pulled the login records tied to your administrative credentials, he says. Vance's jaw tightens. And at 2:14 a.m., Hale adds, each word precise, the night before this document was created, your account was accessed from inside your own residence network. A beat, no movement, no sound. Then, Hale looks directly at him. By your nephew. The reaction is instant. Gasps, whispers, a chair scraping loudly against the floor somewhere in the crowd. My eyes move without thinking, to the front row. Eli Vance is there, frozen, not shocked, caught, and suddenly everything that didn't make sense does. Hale's voice drops, quieter now, but it cuts deeper than anything before. He didn't just alter grades, he says. He created this document. He lifts the file slightly. Using your name. Every piece clicks into place at once, but one question still hangs. If Vance didn't create it, why did he use it? Hale seems to read that exact thought, because the next thing he says isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. When did you realize the signature wasn't yours, Principal Vance? And this time, Vance doesn't even try to answer. The silence that follows isn't confusion anymore. It's recognition. Principal Vance doesn't look at the crowd. He doesn't look at Eli. His eyes stay fixed on the file in Marcus Hale's hand, like everything is sitting right there, exposed in ink. Hale doesn't rush it. You saw it before you walked on stage, he says evenly. Didn't you? Vance exhales slowly, the kind of breath that doesn't steady anything. It just delays the inevitable. His shoulders drop a fraction. I reviewed the file this morning, he admits. Not into the microphone, not for the audience, but everyone hears it anyway. Hale nods once. And you recognized the signature wasn't yours? A pause. Then, finally, yes. The word lands harder than anything else so far, because that's the moment everything locks into place. Hale turns slightly, addressing both the room and the record. So to be clear, this expulsion order was forged using your credentials by your nephew, and despite knowing that, you chose to proceed with a public disciplinary action against Ms. Mirek. No one moves, no one interrupts. Vance's voice is quieter now. There was already an investigation. She had already caused... She reported it, Hale cuts in. That's her job. That ends it. Not loudly, not dramatically, just completely. The version of the story Vance tried to build collapses right there on stage. I feel it in my chest. Not relief exactly, but something heavier lifting off in pieces. The whispers around me are different now. No laughter, no judgment aimed my way. Just the slow realization of what almost happened and who it came from. Hale closes the file with a soft, final sound. Principal Harold Vance, he says, voice formal now, you are being placed on immediate administrative leave pending full investigation into academic fraud, negligence, and abuse of authority. Two officials step forward. This time, Vance doesn't resist. He doesn't argue. He just stands there for a second longer, like he's still trying to hold on to a version of control that doesn't exist anymore. Then he steps back. Off the stage. Past me. He doesn't look in my direction. Eli is already being approached by one of the officials near the front row. He tries to say something, too fast, too quiet, but it doesn't go anywhere. He's escorted out without a scene, but every eye follows him. Because now everyone understands. The grades, the system, the setup, all of it. The assembly dissolves into controlled chaos. Staff speaking in low, urgent tones, students buzzing, phones still recording, but now for a completely different reason. And I'm still standing in the same spot. Only now. No one is looking at me like I'm guilty. Hale turns back to me, his tone shifting, still professional, but no longer sharp. "Ms. Mirek," he says, "you are cleared of all accusations effective immediately. Your report is what initiated this investigation." I nod. But the words take a second to fully land. Cleared. Not quietly, not behind closed doors. Here, where it almost ended. Weeks later, the fallout spreads exactly the way it should have from the beginning. Vance is formally terminated. His credentials revoked. Charges filed for complicity and obstruction. Eli is expelled. Academic fraud, unauthorized system access. His record follows him. The district launches a full audit. Multiple staff members are questioned, some suspended, policies rewritten. Everything I pointed at gets opened, not buried. And me? I walk back into the same auditorium one afternoon. Empty this time. No voices, no lights, no stage pressure, just space. I step onto the exact spot where I stood that day and look out at the rows of seats that watched it happen. It feels different now. Well, not because it changed, because I did. Footsteps echo behind me. I turn. Marcus Hale. He stops a few feet away, holding a thin folder. Not thick like before. Clean. Intentional. "We're expanding the compliance team," he says, district-wide. I already know what he's going to say next. "We'd like you to lead it." I glance at the stage floor for a second, then back at him. Same place, same system, different position. I take the folder, and this time, I'm the one holding the file.